Have you ever walked into a cluttered room and instantly felt your chest tighten? Or opened a packed closet only to feel overwhelmed by choices that shouldn't even be this complicated? That subtle tension in your shoulders. That deep, almost imperceptible sigh as you scan a chaotic space. It's easy to dismiss these reactions as trivial, but make no mistake, your body is speaking to you. This isn't just about mess. It's about what clutter, both physical and mental, does to your nervous system, your thoughts, and even your breathing patterns. Every object you own, every commitment you make, every unfinished task lingering in the back of your mind, it all takes up space. And that space isn't just physical. It's psychological. We live in a world that glorifies more. More productivity. More stuff. More social commitments. More goals. But very few people ask the more important question. At what cost? What's the hidden price you pay for a cluttered life? Is it your peace of mind? Your ability to rest deeply at night? Your sense of freedom and ease? Today, we're going to explore how minimalism is not about deprivation or living in cold, empty spaces. It's about liberation. It's about removing the heavy layers of should, must, and someday that silently weigh you down. It's about choosing clarity over chaos, peace over pressure, and intentionality over impulse. And no, this doesn't require a plane ticket to a silent retreat in the mountains. It doesn't require expensive therapy sessions or elaborate self-care routines. What it does require is a shift. A decision to stop feeding the endless cycle of overwhelm and start nurturing the one thing you've been searching for all along, calm. In the next few moments, we'll uncover the science behind why clutter triggers anxiety, how minimalist living naturally soothes your nervous system, and most importantly, how you can start applying this powerful philosophy in your daily life, even if your world feels chaotic right now. So take a deep breath with me. Inhale slowly. And exhale gently. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to solve every problem or clear every space. You only need to take one small, conscious step toward creating a life that feels lighter. Let's begin. Let's start with what's happening neurologically. Every moment of your waking life, your brain is processing an overwhelming amount of sensory information. It's constantly filtering sights, sounds, smells, and even subtle emotional cues from your environment. This system, while incredibly sophisticated, has its limits. And that's where clutter comes in. According to a groundbreaking study from Princeton's Neuroscience Institute, clutter doesn't just sit quietly in the background. It actively competes for your attention. In the language of neuroscience, this is known as attentional competition. Every object in your field of vision, whether it's a stack of papers on your desk, a pile of laundry in the corner, or dozens of browser tabs left open, is a silent trigger pulling on your brain's limited attentional resources. Think of your brain like a computer. Too many open programs slow everything down. The system overheats. Tasks that should be simple start to feel exhausting. In a cluttered environment, your brain has to work overtime to process and suppress irrelevant information. This leaves you mentally fatigued, more irritable, and far less capable of handling the real demands of your day. But it doesn't stop there. When your brain encounters clutter, it doesn't just struggle with focus, it also interprets those visual cues as unfinished business. Every unwashed dish isn't just a dish. It's a tiny, nagging reminder that you're falling behind. Every unread email isn't just a message. It's a symbol of looming responsibility. This is what psychologists call the Zeigarnik effect, the mind's tendency to fixate on unfinished tasks. In evolutionary terms, this made sense. Our ancestors needed to stay hyper-aware of unresolved threats in their environment. But in modern life, this wiring backfires. Instead of saber-toothed tigers and immediate survival concerns, we're now constantly reminded of incomplete to-do lists, cluttered spaces, and 1,000 small threats we haven't resolved. And here's the critical part. This constant low-level alarm keeps your brain in a chronic state of fight or flight. Even if you're sitting calmly at your desk, sipping coffee, your nervous system may be on high alert because of the chaos surrounding you. Your body starts producing more cortisol, the primary stress hormone. Your heart rate subtly increases. Your breathing becomes shallower without you even realizing it. This is why, at the end of a cluttered day, even if you didn't do much physically, you feel utterly drained. Now, imagine the opposite. Imagine stepping into a room where everything has a place. A clear desk, just a journal, a favorite pen, and perhaps a small plant breathing life into the corner. A bedroom that isn't bursting at the seams with clothes you never wear, but instead holds only items that bring you comfort and rest. A schedule that isn't packed wall to wall, but holds open spaces for stillness and reflection. What happens in that moment is almost magical. Your brain no longer has to fight for control. It no longer needs to triage between 1,000 visual stimuli. It finally gets the message it's been longing to hear. You're safe. You can relax now. In minimalist environments, the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation, regains control. The amygdala, the center of fear and anxiety, quiets down. Your body naturally shifts from a sympathetic fight or flight state into a parasympathetic rest and digest state. And in that state, real healing begins. This is why we feel a deep sense of peace in places like a serene yoga studio, a cozy cafe with minimal decor, or a simple, uncluttered hotel room. It's not just the aesthetics, it's neuroscience at work. Minimalism, at its core, is about creating environments, both physical and mental, that stop shouting at you and start soothing you. It's not about living with nothing. It's about living with only what truly matters, things that bring joy, calm, and clarity. Consider this. If you remove just one source of visual clutter from your most frequented space right now, how might that change the way you feel when you walk into that room? If you unsubscribed from just 5 email newsletters that you never read but always feel guilty about ignoring, how much lighter might your mind feel the next time you check your inbox? These aren't grand, sweeping changes. They're small, deliberate acts of kindness toward your own nervous system. So the next time you wonder why you're feeling tense, scattered, or on edge, take a moment to look around. Your environment may be speaking louder than you think. And the good news? You have the power to change that story, one clear space, one simplified decision at a time. Shall we explore exactly how to begin this calming transformation? Let's move on. Let's talk biology. Anxiety isn't just a mental state, it's a full-body experience. When we're anxious, it's not just in our heads. Our entire physiological system is involved, reacting, tightening, defending. And at the center of this physical storm is a hormone you've probably heard of, cortisol. Cortisol is your body's primary stress hormone. It's part of your fight-or-flight system, meant to help you respond quickly to danger. In a true emergency, like a near car crash, it's helpful. It spikes your alertness, sharpens your senses, and prepares your muscles for action. But chronic anxiety? That's when this emergency system stays turned on for hours, days, even years. And that's where the real damage begins. Elevated cortisol levels over time lead to sleep disruptions, your brain can't turn off. Poor digestion, your gut gets less blood flow when stressed. Suppressed immune function, you get sick more easily. Weight gain, especially around the midsection. High blood pressure. Memory problems. Increased inflammation. You see, your body isn't designed to live in a state of alert all the time. But in a cluttered, overstimulated world, many people unknowingly trap themselves in exactly that state. Now, here's where minimalism becomes more than just a design trend, it becomes medicine. Minimalist environments reduce what scientists call sensory load or sensory overstimulation. And this change has a measurable effect on the nervous system. Let me explain. Every sound, color, texture, object, and unfinished task in your environment sends input to your brain. Your brain then has to process all that input and decide what to focus on, what to ignore, what's safe, and what might be a threat. When your environment is filled with clutter, whether it's physical mess, digital notifications, or a packed calendar, your brain receives a continuous stream of microstress signals. Over time, these signals accumulate into a biological reality, constant low-grade stress. And the brain region responsible for interpreting threats, the amygdala, gets hyperactive. The amygdala is like your brain's alarm bell. When it detects a problem, it sounds the alert, "We're not safe." Stay tense. Stay ready. Now imagine the amygdala being set off, not by a lion in the jungle, but by 47 unread emails, 12 tabs open on your browser, a cluttered desk, and a phone buzzing with non-stop notifications. That's modern life. And we wonder why we can't relax. But here's the healing truth: our brains are extremely responsive to environment. Just as clutter stresses us out, simplicity calms us down. Just as overstimulation activates cortisol, clarity and space lower it. Think about it. Why do spas and retreat centers always look so simple and serene? Why do they use neutral colors, clean lines, soft lighting, and open space? It's not just aesthetics, it's biology. These environments reduce sensory input, which quiets the amygdala, slows your heart rate, and increases alpha brain waves associated with calm, presence, and creativity. This is the same reason many people find peace in nature. A quiet forest, a slow river, or an open field isn't bombarding your brain with messages. Nature is inherently minimalist. And we are biologically wired to feel safe there. But you don't need to live in the woods to experience this. You can create similar peace in your everyday spaces. Here's something practical you can try today. No massive overhaul. No weekend-long cleaning spree. Just one small experiment. Pick one area in your immediate environment, your nightstand, your workspace, or even your phone's home screen. Now, clear it completely. Take everything off. Leave it blank. Sit with that emptiness for a few moments. Let your body register the feeling of space. Then, slowly reintroduce only the items that genuinely bring you value, peace, or joy. Maybe a lamp. A single book you're currently reading. A glass of water. A photo that reminds you of something pure. A calming wallpaper on your screen. Now, notice how you feel. Breathe into that difference. That isn't just aesthetics. That's therapy. That's your nervous system thanking you. There's a name for this practice in psychology: environmental self-regulation. It's the idea that the spaces we occupy can either dysregulate our emotions or support our return to balance. When you walk into a minimalist space, your body intuitively relaxes. Your jaw loosens. Your shoulders drop. Your breath deepens. You're no longer surrounded by objects demanding decisions. You're no longer reminded of everything you haven't done. You're simply here. Now let's go a little deeper. Anxiety often thrives in chaos, especially when we feel out of control. Minimalism restores a sense of agency. When you decide what stays and what goes. When you choose calm over chaos. When you intentionally edit your life. You're telling your nervous system, "I'm in control. I'm safe. I'm choosing peace." That message is powerful. Because when your mind feels calm, your body follows. This is especially helpful for people who deal with high-functioning anxiety, those who seem calm on the outside, but inside, are constantly racing, constantly preparing, constantly bracing for something to go wrong. To those people, I offer this simple truth. Minimalism isn't about getting rid of everything. It's about removing the noise so you can finally hear yourself again. And when you hear yourself, when you create just enough stillness to listen inwardly, your body responds with relief. Your cortisol levels begin to normalize. Your heart rate variability, an indicator of resilience, improves. Your digestion, sleep, and immune health follow suit. This isn't theory. This is measurable. Real. Biological. So let me offer you one more powerful, practical suggestion. Create one minimalist sanctuary in your life. It doesn't have to be an entire room. It could be your morning routine. It could be a 10-minute walk with no phone. It could be a single drawer that contains only what brings you calm. Design a small environment where your body can exhale, where nothing is expected of you, where clarity replaces clutter. In a world that tells you to do more, achieve more, be more, minimalism reminds you that you already have enough. And that belief alone reduces anxiety more than any pill ever could. Remember, simplicity is not the absence of things. It's the presence of what truly matters, and the absence of what weighs you down. Physical clutter is only half the battle. We talk a lot about the stuff we can see, messy countertops, overflowing drawers, chaotic closets, but the deeper struggle lies in what we can't see, the clutter in our minds. The emails we haven't answered. The text we've been meaning to send. The decision we keep avoiding. The guilt we carry from yesterday. The worry we carry for tomorrow. This is mental clutter. And unlike physical mess, mental clutter doesn't just sit in a drawer or pile up in a corner. It goes with you, into your conversations, your sleep, your mornings, your relationships. It creates invisible noise that shapes how you feel, how you focus, and how deeply you can rest. Most people live with this noise constantly humming in the background, without even realizing it. It's like having dozens of browser tabs open in your brain, each silently draining your energy, each whispering, "Don't forget about me." Every unmade decision is a weight. Every unsaid thing is an itch. Every what if is a low, constant tension in your body. This isn't just emotionally exhausting, it's neurologically real. You see, your working memory, the part of your brain responsible for holding temporary information and making decisions, has a limited capacity. And when it's overloaded with thoughts you haven't processed, it slows down your clarity, weakens your focus, and spikes your stress. This is why people say things like, "I'm tired but I can't sleep. I'm free but I feel trapped. I'm not doing anything, but I feel overwhelmed." It's not always about what you're doing, it's about what you're carrying. So how do we declutter the mind? Let me introduce a simple but transformative practice I call the mind sweep ritual. Here's how it works. At the end of your day, ideally right before bed, find a quiet moment. Grab a notebook or open a clean digital note. And then, write down everything on your mind. And I mean everything. No editing. No organizing. No filtering. If it's on your mind, it goes on the page. I need to call my mom. I forgot to reply to that email. I'm scared about my job. I don't know if I'm in the right relationship. Why did I say that at dinner? Should I change careers? What if this doesn't work out? Let it spill. Thought after thought. Worry after worry. Guilt, hope, decision, question, everything. This is not about solving anything. This is about offloading. Because once it's on the page, your brain no longer has to hold it. And something almost magical happens. Your nervous system softens. Your breath deepens. Your thoughts begin to slow, not because you forced them to, but because they've been seen. You gave them space. You see, much of our anxiety isn't from problems themselves, but from the effort of trying not to forget them. Your brain is constantly pinging you, reminding you of loose ends. Don't forget this. You still haven't handled that. What about this? By doing a mind sweep, you relieve your brain of that job. It no longer has to hold the tension. It can trust the external system. It can rest. Once you've emptied your mind onto the page, the second step begins. Applying minimalism to your mental life. Just like you would declutter your physical space by asking, "Do I love this? Do I use this? Does this add value?" You now ask similar questions about your mental load. Which of these tasks or worries truly align with my values? Am I doing this because it's meaningful to me, or because I feel obligated? Does this serve my deeper vision, or is it just noise? Which thoughts are outside of my control? So much anxiety comes from trying to fix what we cannot change. Someone else's opinion. The past. The future. The unknown. Minimalism invites you to gently release these weights. What conversations have I postponed that could bring closure? Sometimes, the mental loop you can't close is actually tied to an emotional loop left open. A difficult conversation avoided. An apology never spoken. A goodbye that never happened. Decluttering your mind often requires a little courage, but that courage leads to freedom. Here's the truth. Mental clarity isn't found by thinking harder. It's found by letting go. Letting go of the need to figure everything out right now. Letting go of perfection. Letting go of control. Letting go of identities that no longer serve you. And here's the deeper layer. Mental clutter isn't just about productivity. It's also about identity clutter. We carry around old versions of ourselves like outdated software. I'm the responsible one. I'm the person who always says yes. I can't let people down. I'm only valuable when I'm busy. These are scripts we didn't consciously choose, but we perform them every day. They shape how we spend our time, how we respond to others, and how we feel when we're finally alone. Minimalism asks you to strip back these scripts. To ask, who am I beneath all of this? What would remain if I stopped trying to prove anything? That, too, is mental decluttering. Now, let me give you a practical extension of the mind sweep ritual, a way to gently organize what you've released. Once your thoughts are on paper, draw 3 circles on a fresh page. Label them. Keep. Let go. Take action. Go through your mind sweep and drop each item into one of these buckets. Keep are the thoughts or insights you want to hold on to. Maybe it's a beautiful idea. A vision. A new awareness. Let go of the items you don't need to carry anymore, worries about things you can't control, guilt over things you've already learned from. Take action are the items that require your energy tomorrow. Send the email, schedule the appointment, speak the truth. This method helps you transform overwhelm into clarity. You don't need to solve everything at once. You just need to know what belongs where. And finally, create margins in your mental space. Even when your mind is clear, don't rush to fill it. Don't immediately replace silence with input. Let your thoughts breathe. Let your mind wander. Let there be white space. In music, silence isn't the absence of sound, it's what gives shape to the notes. In life, mental space isn't emptiness, it's where creativity, peace, and presence are born. You deserve that space. And minimalism, at its best, isn't just a design choice or a lifestyle trend. It's a way of thinking. A way of feeling. A way of being. It's the discipline of clarity. The permission to let go. The courage to come home to yourself. So tonight, try it. Grab a notebook. Sit in stillness. Empty your mind gently, without judgment, without pressure. And watch what happens when you create space for peace to return. The real gift of minimalism is not in having fewer things. It's in having more clarity. More time. More peace. More space to be, instead of constantly needing to do. In this segment, we're going to translate minimalist philosophy into daily habits you can begin practicing right now, habits that gently declutter your nervous system, create emotional spaciousness, and allow your mind to breathe again. Let's begin with the part of your day that sets the tone for everything that follows. 1. Simplify your mornings. Most people start their day with a dose of digital chaos. The alarm goes off. The phone's in your hand. Before your feet even touch the floor, you've scrolled through headlines, notifications, Instagram stories, and a few urgent emails. By the time you take your first breath outside the sheets, you've already ingested 30 different voices, and not one of them is your own. Now imagine an alternative. You wake up and pause. No rush. No screen. You step into your morning with a ritual, not a routine. A moment of stillness. A glass of warm water with lemon to awaken the digestive system. One handwritten sentence in a journal. Today, I intend to show up with calm and clarity. Then, you sit quietly. No timer. No pressure. Just 2 minutes of intentional breathing. Inhale deeply through the nose. Exhale slowly through the mouth. These simple actions send a clear message to your nervous system. I am safe. I am grounded. I begin my day with presence. This shift alone, this tiny reprogramming of your morning, can dramatically reduce anxiety before it begins. It's not the size of your morning ritual that matters. It's the intentionality behind it. 2. Adopt a one in, one out rule. Minimalism is not a one-time event, it's a practice. And one of the most powerful daily practices is what I call the one in, one out rule. It's exactly what it sounds like. Every time you bring something new into your life, whether it's a physical object, a digital app, or even a social commitment, you intentionally let something else go. New shirt in? One old one out. Added a new meeting to your calendar? Cancel or delegate one non-essential task. Accepted a new responsibility? Say no to something that no longer serves you. This practice forces conscious entry into your life. It trains your mind to filter what truly matters from what's just noise. And more importantly, it creates balance. Because clutter, whether physical or emotional, doesn't just happen from adding. It happens when we keep adding without subtracting. Without pause. Without editing. This habit invites you to become the editor of your life, not just the consumer. 3. Create white space in your day. In design, white space isn't emptiness, it's intentional breathing room. It's what gives structure, elegance, and clarity to everything else on the page. Your life works the same way. Most of us are afraid of blank time on our calendar. We pack every hour. Every commute is filled with a podcast. Every meal comes with a YouTube video. Every pause is immediately replaced with stimulation. But here's the truth. Your brain doesn't fear boredom, your ego does. Boredom isn't the enemy. It's the birthplace of creativity, of insight, of rest. So create white space in your day. Block off 1 hour each day with no plan. Sit on the balcony. Take a walk with no headphones. Do nothing on purpose. Let your mind wander without guilt. Let your nervous system stretch its legs. Let stillness rise. You don't have to earn this. It's not laziness. It's a discipline, a form of mental hygiene. Because in the stillness, you'll often discover answers you've been chasing all day. 4. Digital decluttering. If your home is clean but your mind still feels cluttered, chances are the culprit is digital. We spend more hours with our devices than with other humans. And yet most of us have never taken the time to curate our digital lives. Let's change that. Start by unfollowing any accounts that make you feel anxious, inferior, or angry. Yes, even the ones that are informative. If it doesn't nourish your peace, it's not serving you. Next, turn off non-essential notifications. You don't need to be alerted every time someone posts a story, sends a like, or shares a sale. Your attention is sacred. Guard it like a monk guards silence. Then, create a daily ritual I call the phone-free hour. Each evening, set your phone aside for 1 uninterrupted hour. No scrolling. No alerts. Just real life. You might sit outside and watch the sky change. Have a full, present conversation with someone you love. Read a few pages from an actual book. Rest your eyes. Reconnect with your own thoughts. You'll be surprised how quickly your anxiety drops when you give your brain space to just be. Digital minimalism isn't about deleting everything. It's about curating what truly connects you and letting go of the rest. 5. Practice the power of saying no. Every yes is a commitment of your mental energy. Every yes occupies emotional real estate. And most people are drowning not from too much clutter, but from too many quiet, unexamined yes. Yes to obligations that drain them. Yes to roles they never wanted. Yes to expectations they never agreed to. Minimalism teaches you this sacred truth. Saying no is not rejection, it's protection. Before agreeing to anything, ask yourself, is this aligned with the life I'm trying to create? Does this serve the version of myself I'm becoming? Would I choose this if I had nothing to prove? If the answer is no, bless it and release it. Because every no to what drains you is a yes to what heals you. And every time you honor your inner boundary, you reinforce the foundation of a calm mind. A final thought. Minimalist habits aren't about deprivation. They're about intention. They aren't about doing less for the sake of it. They're about clearing what distracts you from what matters most. And the most powerful outcome? A calm mind. Not one that's empty or idle, but one that's clear, focused, and free. So try this. Don't overhaul your life overnight. Choose just one habit today. A phone-free hour. A white space block on your calendar. A glass of warm lemon water in the morning. Or simply saying no to one unnecessary thing. And notice what shifts inside you. Because peace isn't found in a perfect routine. It's found in small, quiet choices. Repeated with love. At this point in the journey, you may have already decluttered your nightstand. You may have paused your morning scroll. You may have written down your thoughts in a quiet room at the end of a long day. And still, something deeper calls. A whisper from beneath the habits. A pull to not just change what you do, but how you see. How you define enough. How you understand peace. How you relate to yourself. This is the heart of the minimalist mindset shift. Because minimalism isn't just about having fewer things or doing fewer tasks. It's about rewriting the internal script that says, you are only as valuable as what you produce. It's about freeing yourself from the mental clutter of shame, comparison, obligation, and noise. Let's explore this together. 1. From scarcity to sufficiency. Scarcity is not just a financial condition. It's a mindset. A lens. It's the voice that says, I don't have enough time. I'm not doing enough. I should be more. They're ahead of me. I'm falling behind. And here's what's powerful. You can declutter your house, unsubscribe from every email, delete half your wardrobe. But if the scarcity script is still running in your mind, you'll still feel behind. Still feel cluttered. Still feel not enough. The minimalist mindset invites a radical reframe. What if you already have enough? Time. Space. Love. Self-worth. What if the goal isn't to acquire or hustle or become, but simply to return? To who you've been all along beneath the layers of should and stress. This shift alone calms the nervous system more deeply than any self-help routine. Because it tells your body, you're safe now. You can stop running. 2. From more to meaningful. In a culture obsessed with more, minimalism whispers a different truth. Meaning matters more than magnitude. This shows up in how we decorate our homes. Not the most stuff, but the most intentional stuff. And how we use our time. Not a packed calendar, but a purposeful one. And how we speak. Not more words, but more honesty. And how we spend. Not dozens of cheap choices, but one meaningful investment. Ask yourself, what is truly meaningful to me? Who? What spaces? What activities? What values? Once you get clear on that, everything else becomes background noise. And as you tune that noise down, mental clarity emerges naturally. Because meaning brings peace. And peace brings strength. 3. From identity clutter to inner clarity. We don't just collect objects. We collect roles. Masks. Labels. Expectations. I'm the high achiever. I'm the caretaker. I'm the person who's always available. I'm the strong one. Some of these identities were chosen. Most were inherited, handed to us silently, by family, society, fear. And the more roles you carry, the more dissonance builds between who you are and who you're pretending to be. This is identity clutter. It's exhausting. It's heavy. And it's invisible to most of the world. The minimalist mindset invites a deep question. Who would I be without the performance? What parts of myself do I continue to keep, not because they nourish me, but because they feel expected? When you begin to subtract the roles that no longer align with your truth, what's left is something radiant. Your essence. Clarity is not something you chase. It's something that reveals itself when you stop pretending. 4. From productivity to presence. For many, anxiety is fueled by a sense of constant urgency. More things to do. More goals to hit. More boxes to check. But ask yourself, what is it all for? When was the last time you sat and drank a cup of tea slowly? When did you last notice the texture of sunlight on the wall? When did you last listen to someone, not to respond, but simply to witness? The minimalist mindset says this. You don't need to earn your rest. You don't need to justify your stillness. You don't need to be productive to be worthy. Presence is not a luxury. It's your birthright. And ironically, when you stop racing, when you allow space for presence, your anxiety doesn't just decrease. Your effectiveness increases. Because a calm mind is a focused mind. And a focused mind moves mountains. 5. From external validation to inner alignment. One of the deepest roots of mental clutter is the need to be approved of. To be seen as successful, attractive, generous, valuable. So we cure it. We overextend. We self-monitor. We compare. We perform. It's exhausting. Minimalism invites this profound mindset shift. Live by alignment, not applause. Instead of asking, what will they think? Ask, does this feel true to me? Instead of, how do I look doing this? Ask, how do I feel doing this? This alignment between action and truth is the ultimate decluttering of the soul. Because when you stop outsourcing your worth, your mind becomes quieter. Your decisions become easier. Your path becomes clearer. The takeaway. So let's review. The minimalist mindset isn't about owning white furniture or living in a tiny house. It's about liberation. From noise. From urgency. From outdated scripts. It's about saying, I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to do what everyone else is doing. I don't need more. I need meaning. I don't need to be everything to everyone. I just need to be true. Minimalism is the art of returning to what matters. Over and over again. So as we close this segment and this episode, I invite you to pause right now and ask yourself, gently, what am I ready to release? What am I ready to return to? What would a calmer, truer version of me look like? Let the answers come softly. There is no rush. This isn't a race. This is a return. You don't need to find more. You only need to remember what's already within you. Because peace isn't a destination. It's a decision. And today, you are allowed to choose it. So here we are. We begin this episode by exploring a simple truth that clutter, whether physical or mental, is not neutral. It speaks. It nags. It steals tiny moments of peace until, without realizing it, you're carrying an invisible weight that doesn't belong to you. We unpacked the neuroscience of overwhelm. We examined how our brains and bodies respond to mess, to noise, to decision fatigue, and how minimalism isn't about aesthetics, but nervous system regulation. We practiced clearing space, on a nightstand, in a journal, in your digital world, and most importantly, inside your mind. And now, we arrive here. Not at a finish line, but at a doorway. The doorway back to yourself. To a version of you that is less scattered and more centered. Less consumed and more clear. Less rushed and more rooted. Let me ask you something quietly. What would your life feel like if it were just a little lighter? Not in a dramatic, Instagrammable way, but in a quiet, sustainable way. What if you created 5 extra minutes in your morning just to breathe? What if your home was arranged to calm you, not stress you? What if your calendar had white space built in, not because you had nothing to do, but because you finally understood the value of not doing? You see, minimalism, true minimalism, isn't a lifestyle trend. It's an emotional reset button. It's the daily decision to choose peace over pressure, presence over performance, clarity over clutter. It's a gentle rebellion against the narrative that your worth is measured by your output. It's a reminder that you don't need to hustle to deserve rest. You don't need to have it all to have enough. You don't need to be everywhere to be here. So, how do we take this with us? How do we carry the essence of this episode into real life? It starts small. With one drawer cleared, one notification silenced, one thought gently released in your journal, one moment of pause before you say yes out of guilt instead of alignment. Because when it comes to reclaiming your mind, the smallest changes make the biggest difference. This isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming present. And if there's one final truth I want to leave you with, it's this. You are allowed to protect your peace. You're allowed to close the door, mute the noise, and let go of things that no longer align. You're allowed to live slower in a fast world. To create silence in a loud one. To simplify, not because you're weak, but because your clarity is your power. Minimalism isn't a limitation. It's an invitation. An invitation to listen to your body again. To make space for joy again. To come home to yourself again. Not as an escape, but as a return. Because beneath all the clutter and the chaos, beneath the noise and the notifications, beneath the overthinking and overcommitting, there is a you who is already whole. A you who is calm. A you who is clear. A you who remembers how to breathe. So let that version rise. Not all at once. Not overnight. But slowly. Gently. With every small choice to create space for what matters. Because in the end, minimalism isn't about less. It's about more of what matters most. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I know your attention is precious. I hope this episode made space, not just in your schedule, but in your soul. If it did, feel free to share it with someone who might be carrying more than they need to. Sometimes, the greatest gift we can offer is permission to let go. Until next time, stay grounded, stay gentle, and remember, you are allowed to live lightly.